They're just flat beautiful.
There's nothing as handsome as half a dozen 12s out on the wind.
It's pretty unbelievable to see this many boats in one place is remarkable.
It's like sailing a beautiful work of art.
Newport, Rhode Island has been a favorite sailing destination since the middle 1800s. These iconic waters are the perfect home for the international 12-meter class. The America's Cup was defended here in the 12s 9 times between 1958 and 1983.
These are great boats. They're fun boats to sail. The boats are very, very equal. So mark rounding starts, but it's very close racing all the time.
It's a little bit like a 1956 Ferrari. I mean, these things are just so beautiful, and they're stunning on the water.
They're damn good boats. You know, these are now, in some cases, 40, 50-year-old boats. If you go all the way down to the traditionals, even older. They sail beautifully. There's a feeling, you know, as I jokingly say to the guys, 7, 8 knots has never felt so good.
They're fun boats. They're heavy boats. They're not like these things that go 30 miles an hour and you got to hang on for dear life. And that's why everybody seems to love them. They grow on you.
The 12-meter class was created in 1906 at a conference in London. The class was used in the Olympic Games 3 times between 1908 and 1920. In 1958, the New York Yacht Club and the Royal Yacht Squadron agreed to use 12 meters for the America's Cup races. 180 of these yachts have been built.
I was a junior in college in 1974, and I got out here from the West Coast by recommendation from Bill Ficker, former America's Cup winner, and ended up earning a position on Courageous and as the bowman, and spent that entire summer aboard Courageous, so it was great fun.
12 meters brings a lot of good memories back. I've been in San Diego for about 40 years, and I remember like Dennis Conner with Tom Whitten, these guys doing a campaign, America's Cup campaign, and I did a lot. I was one of the floaters that was kind of step in when they didn't have enough crews, and so I kind of have a good time sailing these boats. It's kind of demanding, but it's actually a lot of fun.
The boats are very evenly matched and the crews are very evenly matched, but also the fact of just the history of these boats and the people that have been on them. And I think that's what's really carried the 12-meter class, is that they're not numbers, they're names and they have a history.
I was looking for a boat that might make a good day charter boat in Newport, and I thought Weatherly, with her connection to Newport as a Cup defender, made a lot of sense, and there was a lot of appeal there. Weatherly's a wonderful boat to sail, and I've been sailing it now for 23 years. It's a joy every time.
In 2019, 22 12 meters raced in a world championship and a series of regattas off Newport. Several yachts traveled via ship from Europe. Well over 300 passionate sailors were lucky to race on one of the 12s, and everyone understood how special it was to be on board.
We normally are 10, 12, 14 boats at the starting lines, mostly vintage boats. And we have an aim that we want to enhance that to 20 boats over the years.
I found the boat in 2006 in a mooring in Slovenia. It's owned by an Italian family who had had it for a long time. It had been in the water for 10 years. The only thing that kept it together was the paint. It was built at Camper at Nicholson, planned by Charles E. Nicholson, one of the greatest yacht designers ever. Beautiful boat to sail, and we love to be in a nice place.
Nayala is Parkman and Stephen design, built by Nevins, City Island, I think, and restored by Cantiere dell'Argentario in Porto Santo Stefano, Italy. They did a very well job, very well works. And the boat is quite close to the original. All the fittings, winches, apart the mast, but the mast was rebuilt with the same fittings of the wooden mast as much as possible.
The Vema is built just outside Oslo in 1933. It was designed by Johan Anker, which is a famous naval architect in Norway. The Vema has been in Norway ever since.
A German guy wanted to buy it, but then we founded a consortium in order to keep it in Norway. So today we are 10 owners that are also racing the boat in order to keep it in Norway. And then we were invited to Newport 2019, and then we shipped it from Germany to be here in the US for the whole season.
We're sailing Ottawa, which is the oldest American 12-meter, built in 1928. We originally restored Ottawa back in 2001 for the America's Cup Jubilee with a syndicate of partners. We sailed her for 12 years, later donated her to a nonprofit, and a couple of years ago I bought her back and we formed a new syndicate. So we're thrilled to be racing her again here in Newport.
The waters surrounding Newport are perfect for racing sailboats. Usually an afternoon sea breeze fills in, featuring winds of 10 to 16 knots. But there are often a wide variety of weather conditions that challenge the sailors. Many mansions were built along the shoreline over a century ago. The backdrop provides a beautiful scene for the 12-meter class. The Ida Lewis and New York Yacht Clubs are perpetually great hosts for the 12 meters.
The legendary place of Newport here was what attracted Thomas's attention, who's chartering the boat, and asked to get a team put together to go here and enjoy the place and all the history around 12-meter sailing here. So it was actually all the history that attracted our attention.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing for me to have Columbia here amongst all these beautiful yachts, and in Newport, which is the sailing capital of the United States, if not the world.
We enjoy being in Newport. We took a couple of days off and went to Cape Cod, and after a couple of days, this is boring, we'll go back to Newport. So we like this place, we like the atmosphere, the hospitality and the helpsomeness of the people here and the sailors here.
It's phenomenal. You think about how many people are on each boat. You've got 15 in crew on each boat, and support and wives and friends and everybody, and it's a real boost to the economy, and I think it's fantastic.
The fact that such a large fleet of 12 meters were prepared for world-class competition is a testament to the dedication of the owners and the crews. Every piece of equipment, the rigs, sails, and holes must be maintained daily to withstand the pressures put on these yachts by the highly motivated crews. Remember, winning is a high priority. Each crew includes a combination of 12-meter veterans and younger sailors who learn the routine quickly.
They're old-fashioned, but they're cool. They require big crews relative to their overall size. Everybody's crucial. The teamwork and the choreography is really excellent. It doesn't happen overnight, but they all go kind of the same speed. Obviously, they're not all the same speed, but they're close enough so that you're in the hunt most of the time somehow.
Because of the scantlings, the boats themselves hold together extremely well. They're not slower, they're not fragile. So you can, bang them up pretty good and they're still good boats. And they're not critical like the new IRC boats and stuff like that. If you're a few pounds overweight, you're just not competitive. And here, if you're a few pounds overweight, it's just not that critical.
I think if you talked to anyone 40 or 50 years ago, they'd have figured a boat like Ottawa would be nowhere to see in today's world. And it's fantastic to see that they're back on the racetrack, and people are putting the time and the effort and the money into them to get them sailing. They're quite a spectacle.
It's really nice to be in boats that were in the Cup. And a lot of people, I think, enjoy the sailing in the 12 meters. And the boats are still very competitive, so I think it's pretty interesting to be in a fleet which is boats are very equal, and with a lot of good sailors, so I think people enjoy that.
They're still great boats, very challenging, not easy to sail, tough to get going, and they fall off the cliff quite easily, so I think it's a challenge.
They're the most beautiful yachts in the world. Personally, I think when we race these boats are all similar in speed, and it comes down to crew, how you perform as a team, and whoever performs the best as a team out of the 15 people is going to win the race.
With modern technology, precision electronics, new sail designs and fabrics, and advanced naval architecture, the upgrades to the 12s have made them faster and better. these enduring yachts seem to thrive with new innovations.
The boats have become real weapons of technology, really. I mean, they have carbon fiber winches, they have all sorts of carbon sails. They've really taken it to the next level and made these old boats quite modern.
I know I'm getting more out of Courageous than I would have been able to back then. We just know more. And there's a lot of other guys doing the same. The sails are more refined, we're managing the rigs better, trim tabs better, basically just a little bit better all around.
We have better navigational tools, we have better information in terms of true wind direction and speed that we didn't have at all back then.
The size of the mains is very different. Masts are farther back in the boat. They're lighter than they were. I'm told that 6,000 pounds has come out of the average 12 meter in the modern era.
When we first started sailing, it was really intrepid and freedom and courageous. And then Victory 83 came in and really upped the game, and we all sort of had to maintain that level and invest in the boats. And then Challenge 12 has come on stream, Freedom came back in the fleet, and now you've got Enterprise and Defender. And so, everybody's upped their game, everybody's tweaked their boats, gotten new sails, figured out how to make these boats go faster.
I think we're custodians of these boats, and we leave them better than we found them.
The names of these yachts include some of the most famous and important in yachting history. Every one of these boats was a technological marvel during its day, and it's impressive that so many are still racing. Why? Because they're fun.
A Bus Mosbacher drove it in '67 to win, and it won again in '70. Bill Ficker, wonderful guy who recently passed away, was the skipper in 1970, and then again in '74, it raced against Courageous in the Defender trials and came down to the very last race where Intrepid broke its runner and lost the last race. And then Courageous comes through and does it again in '74 and '77. We've been sailing with the Courageous guys since the late '90s. And it's been a great rivalry, it's been a great friendship that has developed over the many years among the two camps. We fight each other on the water, but we're pretty good friends when we get back to land.
Well, she was built in '62, 62 Cup campaign, and she was a trial horse in '64. Then someone bought her, and she did a lot of traveling and ended up in Australia for the '87 America's Cup. Then they were sailing her back, and she stopped off in Durban, South Africa. And she was on a mooring there for 5 years when I found her and bought her and shipped her back and fixed her up.
Victory 83, the boat that you see here, we bought the boat about 12 years ago. It was in just outside of, I guess it was in Coquelin in France. We brought it back over, did a complete refit, and started racing.
Columbia was built for the America's Cup in 1958. Before that, they raced the big J boats. In that year, they had built 3 12 meters, Weatherly, Easterner, and Columbia. And the Vanderbilts had a boat named Vim. And one by one, Columbia eliminated those boats to become the defender of the America's Cup that year and went on to defeat Scepter to win the America's Cup.
The boat was one of the 3 plastic fantastics built for the '87 Cup. I think all of us in 12-meter sailing know the famous Dennis Conner quote, which said that, why would you build a plastic boat if you didn't want to cheat? So they always thought that the plastic fantastics were cheater boats, because the final iteration of the boat, KZ7, which is also here, I think won 35 out of 37 Challenger races.
Challenge 12 raced in the 1983 Challenger trials and was a sister ship to Australia 2 without the wings on her keel. Australia 2 went on to win the America's Cup that summer. Jack Lafort acquired Challenge 12 3 years ago, had the boat rebuilt, tuned her to perfection, and recruited a top-flight crew. They won the World Championship and the New York Yacht Club's 175th anniversary regatta.
Well, Enterprise was a new boat in '77. That was the year of Independence, Enterprise, and Courageous. It was a very special summer because you had, the sailing, you had Olin Stevens designing the boat, Lowell North drove the boat, you had Ted Hood with Independence, you had Turner on Courageous. It was kind of at least guys my age, those were the gods of sailing. She's actually today a bit more like she was in 79 and 80 when Dennis got his hands on her. She's plenty fast. I mean, we know that.
Courageous is a two-time successful America's Cup defender. 3 of us who were on board when she won in 1977 were honored to be back on the crew.
I actually got involved with her in '74 after we got eliminated from the trials on Mariner, sailing with Turner that year, not such a successful year. And then they ended up using a bunch of our sails, and then I built new sails for her for the Cup, and so stayed part of their team that way. And then after the '74 Cup, I basically got a hold of Ted Turner and said, if you do ever want to win the America's Cup, get your hands on Courageous. And that led us to getting it in '77 as quote a trial horse, which obviously proved to be a little bit better than that.
We brought the shrouds in this year. We modified our trim tabs. We modified our rudder. We're going faster upwind. And everybody else has been doing the same thing. So, and you can see on the race course how close we are. I mean, I think one of the finishes, the first finish today, I think we were all within 30 seconds of each other or something, and it was crazy.
Anybody can get to the weather mark first at the first leg. I mean, it's that tight, and we've seen some roundings and downwind. We've had boats finish within seconds of each other on multiple occasions, and the difference between a second and a fourth in a race in a fleet like this is important.
They're extremely powerful, and in a breeze they can be rather concerning.
Oh, I think they're just a blast to sail. They're really loaded boats, and they're big penalties for getting too slow, and just a very challenging boat to sail. And you get to sail with 16 of your good friends, so it's a great time.
The sailors appreciate the upgrades that have made the 12s faster. The large number of America's Cup veterans, world champions, and Olympic medalists who came to Newport for a summer of racing speak enthusiastically about their experience. The 12 meters will continue to thrive long into the future because they are fun and yet challenging boats to sail. The feeling of sailing a 12-meter upwind connects the sailor to the wind and the water in a way that makes you want to come back. The 12-meter class is the epitome of what yacht racing is all about.
Boy, oh boy, the technology is so much better. The sails are better. The equipment's phenomenal, and I think they're significantly faster. I mean, they're phenomenal boats to sail right now.
Nothing like it. The sounds they make, the smell, the feel, it's all visceral. It's a wonderful experience.
It's not a speed thing, it's a power thing. And when you get these boats loaded up, it's a great feeling.
There's nothing cooler than seeing these boats cruise around Narragansett Bay.
Probably the most fun of any boat that I've ever sailed.
We've got some very good people, and that's what it takes. We need people that love these boats and want to leave them better than they found them.